Hey there friends, it's Codiak here and welcome to an important Biomutant survival guide video. If you're on the hunt for information and you don't feel like waiting through 10 minutes of BS before somebody gets to a point, well, you have come to the right place. Today we are talking about all things progression within the game. This has been a big mystery up until this point, but now we know everything there is to know about the progression within the game. And we're going to step through each of these systems and talk about how to make the most out of them for your character. Now, the first thing I want to talk about within the game are mutations. We're going to start with biogenetics. These are similar to abilities within other games. Think of them as spells. There are a number of mutations within the game. There are no restrictions on any of them. All you need to do is have enough bioblob to unlock the ability. At the end of the day, what abilities work best for you really comes down to your playstyle. The mutations within the game are designed for ranged players, they're designed for melee players, and there's actually some utility baked in here too. Livin and I both found that fungi, the ability to drop a mushroom and jump into the air, was rather helpful in combat and outside of combat. The same could be said for the mucus bubble ability and some of the other mutations within the game. Now, I personally did not use a lot of mutations during my playthrough. I just found that it didn't naturally go with my combat playstyle, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be the case for you. And I do want to put all apprehensions at ease here. You will find a ton of bioblob within this game. During your exploration, just make sure to keep an eye out for these. It's probably one of the most essential resources to upgrading resistances, getting mutations, and you're just going to need a lot of it by the time you get to the end game. Since we're talking about bioblob, let's talk about upgrading your resistance. This is a smaller progression system, but incredibly important. What you can do is use bioblob to give yourself a nice 10% increase to the various resistances within the game. Anti-heat, anti-cold, anti-radiation, and anti-biohazard. Now you can keep pumping points into these different resistances until you are maxed out at 100%. At 100%, you will no longer take any damage within any of these zones. The timer is not a factor anymore. I think this is one of the most valuable systems in the game. It allows you to keep on all of your combat gear without switching it out for some resistance gear, and that's really valuable, especially towards the end of the game. But I understand that not a lot of people will get a million bioblobs right off the bat, so this is going to take some time. You do start by spending 1 bioblob point per 10% increase to your resistances, but that does eventually go up to 2 bioblobs and then eventually 3, so on and so forth. It is relatively easy to max out your resistances in the game, so don't worry, eventually you will cap out everything. Now, the final set of mutations I want to talk about are Psi Powers, and these are really interesting because these directly tap into the light and dark auras within the game. These again are abilities or spells, and there are a few of them that don't require any sort of allegiance to the light or the dark, but most of them require some sort of alignment. As you can see on my screen here, I am a light player. I've got a lot of light and only a little bit of dark just from mistakes I made during my dialogue options. And as you can see, I have everything possible unlocked with Sizzle Ball, Telekinesis, and Sky Spark still not able to be unlocked because I don't have enough points. Now, if you don't have enough points, don't worry. You can always get more dark or light points through a number of different systems within the game. The easiest one by far is just capturing critters that are running around the world, catch them with your net and choose to either save them or hurt them, and that will give you either dark or light points. Other options are to help captives or hurt the captives, and that will give you dark and light points as well. Finally, there are shrines throughout the world that you can use. Just be careful. If you do interact with a light shrine, you are guaranteed to get light points. If you interact with a dark shrine, you are guaranteed to get dark points. Finally, there are dialogue options. Of course, throughout the progression of the game, you're going to be talking to a lot of people. If you give light options, you're going to get light points. And if you give dark options, you're going to get dark points. Now, there is no way to really tell what dialogue options are going to give you what points, but just use some insight and I think you'll be just fine. These abilities fall squarely in the magic category. They're very much in the fantasy realm of RPGs, whereas the mutation abilities were more akin to exactly what you would expect in Biomutant. Both are good in different scenarios. The Psi Powers lean much heavier into the elements within the game, whereas the mutations lean a bit more into kind of the wacky and wonderful aspects of the game, more utility pieces, I guess you could say. Now, the last progression system revolves around upgrade points, and you get these by leveling up. You also get these by interacting with the codexes within the bandit camps, and these are going to unlock perks and Wangfu abilities. And we're going to start with the perks here because this is very straightforward. I think players are going to immediately wrap their heads around this. There are general perks for every character, every class, and then there are class-specific perks. You're going to use your upgrade points to unlock the various perks within the game. Those are going to do things like increase your loot chance, give you more key energy, increase your fire rate, all the sorts of things you would expect with perks within a game. Now, of course, you do have the class-specific perks. In my case, I am playing a Saboteur, which leans heavier into things like dodge. I can dodge further, I can dodge for less energy, and my basic movement speed is increased by 5%. The long and short of it is this. You get upgrade points, you spend them on perks to unlock things and make your character stronger. There are no class trees within the game. There are no real builds within the game. Eventually, you will be able to unlock everything. Now, whether or not that's good or bad is really not the point of this video. We'll talk about our opinions, our commentary on the game itself in our Worth Your Time video and other videos that we're producing, but for now, that's what you need to know about the perks. Now, there is one more facet of progression, and that is, of course, the Wangfu abilities. Your upgrade points can be used to unlock special attacks for each of the weapon classifications in the game. This is basically going to allow you to do more damage because you're using special attacks. You're going to be able to string those together and unlock your super wushu. And by now, you guys probably know that that is one of the most effective ways to deal with elites, to deal with hordes of enemies. It's just really powerful. Now, you will have to use a decent amount of upgrade points to unlock everything across the board, but my advice to you is to only unlock the things that you are currently in need of or using. If you're not using a two-handed slash weapon, there's really no point in unlocking those and spending your upgrade points at this point. You can get those later down the line when you get an ultimate weapon, but for now, I would say save your points for something else, and you can always come back and unlock more of these special attacks once the scenario is more apt for your playstyle and your progression. Of course, during your playthrough, you will also be able to level up, allowing you to put 10 points at a time in each of the various stats: vitality, strength, intellect, agility, charisma, and luck. Those classes you picked at the beginning of the game are valuable, but at the end of the day, you're going to be able to build whatever character you want. If you want a super tanky, a lot of health, a lot of armor character, you can do that through the progression within the game. You're not locked out by a class. And I will say, just as a little tip, luck is incredibly valuable. Range combat, for the most part, is just really powerful, and if you have a high crit chance and an automatic weapon, you are going to be critting a lot. And that loot chance is the real moneymaker. The higher the loot chance, the more valuable the gear that you find out in the world. That's going to help your progression, that's going to help your crafting, and ultimately, it's probably one of the most valuable stats within the game. As long as you can get through the combat elements, as long as you're not falling behind and getting killed by everything, I think luck is something that you guys will not want to sleep on. To be honest with you guys, the progression systems within the game are very straightforward, but hey, you may still have more questions, and that's okay. If you do want to know more or you have a question, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. We do our best to answer each and every question that we can, and we'll do our best to enlighten you about everything Biomutant related. Of course, you could also join us on Discord. We've got a great community of nearly 7,000 members with a special section of the Discord made just for Biomutant, so check out that link below and join today. Finally, guys, if you like the channel and you want to support Legacy Gaming even more, you can now become a YouTube member. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you're helping evolve the channel and take our community to that next level. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.